welcome back guys. Today we talk about this not so little, actually kind of huge lens over here, Viltrox 75mm f1.2 Pro, which is the first lens of their Pro line, which I assume is the best of the best they can produce. For example, the 13mm f1.4, which is the lens that provided a huge boost of confidence in the customer's base because that lens is really great. It's not even part of this Pro line. Now, it's marketing, so it doesn't really matter. That lens is great, but the expectations for this one are huge as well. As huge as its size, I would say. Now, apologies in advance for my voice. I have a sore throat since a week ago and I kind of lost part of my voice. Now I'm feeling a little bit better, but it's not there yet. Anyways, that's just little side information for you if you were asking where my voice is. Now, this lens has a 77 front filter thread, testifying how big it is. It's got a aperture ring, which we all love, and it's a clicked one, but the clicks are there. It's not too easy to move, so it's not a big problem, but you don't hear them very loud, so you can get confused while you're using it. Again, very quick first impression video. I only shot a few shots, but at least it's a clicked one, and it's got the automatic position over here. You see here marked in red, which is a little bit more distant than all the other settings, and so you can clearly see, you can clearly feel that it's a different settings than all the others. It's also got this manual focus, autofocus switch, which is something that we are kind of losing in the Fuji film lenses, and it's got a weird red cap. I don't know how to show that, but it's really weird. And behind the cap you have a USB-C port and a gasket around the lens, which means that the lens is weather sealed, weather resistant. So it should be, it's built on metal, it's pretty heavy compared also to the 13mm f1.4. It's definitely not a small and lightweight lens. You can feel the heft in it, but it's a f1.2 lens, and it would be weird to have a super lightweight lens with such a wide aperture. Now, of course, I will be testing this lens a lot in the future, and my intent was for this video to already show you a couple of portraits sessions that I wanted to make before pushing this video out. Again, I don't feel that great, so I couldn't do it. But from my first test that I could see, I can say that on a 26 megapixel sensor, it seems to be really sharp, even wide open, while using it on the 40 megapixel sensor of the XH2, I could definitely see a big improvement stopping down from f1.2 to f2. Now, it's not a big deal. It's already usable at f1.2 even on a 40 megapixel sensor, but you can definitely tell the difference more between being wide open and stop down at f2 on the 40 megapixel sensor. From an image quality standpoint, again, it's very first impressions, but it's really nice. It's definitely pleasing, and colors are good, although I didn't test it super specifically. The one thing that is concerning, especially, and we'll get there in a moment, if compared with the 56mm f1.2 from Fuji, is that the minimum focus distance is not very close. So it kind of forces you to move back. Let's just say you want to try to use the focal length to your advantage and use the aperture to your advantage to really blur the background. You have to still remember that the minimum focusing distance is not that close. What does that mean? That means that in comparison with the 56mm f1.2 from Fuji, image quality aside, all the other considerations aside, you have more flexibility, because with the 56 you can get a lot closer to your subject when you wanna shoot a close up. Now, speaking of the elephant in the room, which is the 56mm from Fuji, you can definitely see the size difference. We're not talking a huge difference, but its difference is there anyways. And even with the front lens, you go from 67 to 77. So there's quite a bit of a difference between the two, and even the weight, you can feel that the 56 is more lightweight than the 75. I'm gonna dive into a more in-depth comparison once I push out the review of the 75 millimeters, because it makes sense to have a doubt, because they are both let's just say portrait lenses, although the 75 millimeters being a 110 almost equivalent, it's a lot longer than the 56, which is your typical 85 millimeters. But on the other hand, the 56 is smaller, is more lightweight, it allows you to focus a lot closer, so it seems to be a more versatile lens. And if you can afford only one of them, it seems that on paper the 56 fits the bill a little bit better. Of course, the other elephant in the room is price. The Viltrox comes at $550, 500, like almost like 600 euros, a little bit more. The Fujifilm comes at basically double the price, if not a little bit more. And if that's not your main focus in photography, if you're not making a lot of money from portraits, it definitely makes sense to ask yourself if you want to invest more than $1,000 in the 56 millimeters, or you want to spend basically the half of the price to get a lens that it's slightly different, but it seems to be good. It seems to have a decent autofocus, but I'm gonna have to test it. I already updated the firmware, because it was something that was highly recommended. And by the way, once I update the firmware, at least mine, the autofocus gave it a little bit of a push. You can hear a little bit of a clack. That concerned me, but the lens is working fine. So I guess that's what it does once you update the firmware. Kind of concerning, but it did it. So what was I saying? This lens seems to be making a lot of sense for its price. I'll definitely set up a couple of shooting sessions and a lot more before pushing out a full review on this lens. As of now, I'm very impressed. It seems like a very good lens from Viltrox. Again, after the 13, I didn't like the previous set of lenses, but the 13 is great, and this one seems to be following the same path. And again, my only concern is basically the minimum focus distance, which is a little bit limiting, and the autofocus in video, but I haven't tested it a lot, so actually I haven't tested it at all, so I don't want to speak to it because I don't know. That's it for today. I hope you liked this video. If you want to know more about this lens, if you want to be informed of when I push the review out, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Make sure you activate the notification bells and leave me a like. Let me know in the comments what you want me to try. If you have any doubts on this lens, I'll try to address those comments in my final review of the lens. I'll see you, ciao, and I'll see you in the next one.